Taewon Kim stood frozen before the large screen. His coffee mug slipped from his fingers and crashed to the floor of the Lunar Defense Base Command Center. No one moved to clean it up. Every eye was fixed on the same thing. The alien's face filled the screen. It had smooth blue skin and 4 dark eyes that blinked in pairs. When it spoke, its thin lips barely moved, but everyone heard its words clearly in their minds. "People of Earth," the alien said, "I am Speaker Rill of the Myriad Collective. Our alliance of 7 advanced species has watched your planet for many years. Today, we must act for the safety of all galactic life." Taewon felt cold sweat on his back. He had trained for 15 years as a military strategist, but nothing had prepared him for this. "Sir," a young officer whispered beside him, "all our satellite links are down. Defense systems are offline." Taewon nodded silently. Whatever these aliens were, they had already taken their first move. The alien continued, "Humans are unique among spacefaring races. You fight when you cannot win. You refuse to accept logical outcomes. This makes you dangerous to galactic peace." The screen changed to show footage of human history, wars, riots, and violence. But Taewon noticed they showed none of humanity's kindness, art, or healing. "This is not fair," he muttered. "They're only showing the worst of us." The alien face returned. "The Collective Council has voted. Earth must be pacified. We will establish control zones on your planet and guide your species toward proper cosmic citizenship." Around the command center, faces paled. General Han slammed his fist on a console. "That's invasion dressed up as help," the general growled. The aliens seemed to look directly at them through the screen. "Resistance is unnecessary and will only cause suffering. Our technology is thousands of years beyond yours. Your weapons cannot harm our ships." As if to prove this point, the screen changed to show massive alien vessels now visible in Earth's orbit. They were smooth and silver, shaped like giant leaves, and seemed to shimmer slightly as if not fully solid. "We are not cruel," the alien said. "We offer you 30 days to prepare. Disband your military forces. Prepare your leaders to meet with our transition teams. Those who cooperate will find the Collective's guidance gentle." Taewon's tactical mind was already racing. 30 days. Why give them time at all? It had to be a sign the aliens had some weakness, some reason they couldn't act immediately. General Han was already barking orders. "Get to the backup communication systems. Contact every military base still online. We need to know what we're dealing with." The aliens' final words echoed in the room. "Resistance has no purpose. In every simulation, your defeat is certain. The Collective has never failed to pacify a world. Accept this truth, and spare yourselves pain." The screen went blank, then switched to static. For 3 heartbeats, the command center was silent. Then everyone moved at once. Taewon grabbed a tablet and began writing rapidly. "General, they've made their first mistake." "What's that?" General Han asked, looking over his shoulder. "They told us we can't win," Taewon said, his eyes hard. No human has ever heard those words and simply given up. Outside the base's reinforced windows, Earth hung in the black sky, beautiful and blue, now with silver alien ships surrounding it like hungry predators. "Get me everything we have on those ships," Taewon said to his team. "Energy readings, movement patterns, communication signals. They say we have 30 days. Let's use every minute." The alien propaganda had begun, but it had missed the most important truth about humans. Telling them they can't win only makes them more determined to try. 3 weeks had passed since the aliens' announcement. Earth's leaders had spent every hour of those 21 days preparing for what would come. Admiral Ju Park stood on the bridge of the ESS Intrepid, Earth's largest warship. At 52, she had gray in her short black hair and lines around her eyes from years of command. Now she faced the greatest challenge of her life. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said her second-in-command. Ju nodded, her face calm despite her racing heart. Earth had gathered every space-worthy military vessel from every nation. 217 ships against the 35 alien vessels that remained in orbit. The numbers looked good, but Juwu knew numbers could lie. "Send the signal," she ordered. "Begin Operation First Strike." The human fleet moved as one, rising from hiding places on the dark side of the moon. They had trained for this moment, rehearsing the attack pattern until every pilot could fly it in their sleep. The alien ships seemed to notice them only when they were halfway to their targets. That was the first good sign. "They're slow to respond," Juwu said. "Keep pushing." Earth's ships fired their main weapons. Missiles and energy beams streaked across the black of space toward the silver alien vessels. For one beautiful moment, Juwu allowed herself to hope. Then everything changed. The alien ships didn't try to dodge. They didn't need to. The human weapons hit some kind of invisible shield and simply vanished. Not a single alien ship showed any damage. "Keep firing," Juwu ordered, trying to keep panic from her voice. "Find a weak spot." That's when the aliens decided to respond. They didn't fire weapons as humans understood them. Instead, waves of energy pulsed out from their ships. Where these waves touched human vessels, systems failed. Engines died. Weapons went dark. On her command screen, Juwu watched as ship after ship reported complete system failure. "Get us out of here," she shouted. "All ships, retreat." But it was too late. The Intrepid shuddered as an energy wave washed over it. All the screens went dark. The engines fell silent. "Emergency power," Juwu ordered, but even that failed to respond. Through the bridge windows, she watched helplessly as the human fleet drifted, dead in space. Of the 217 ships that had attacked, not one remained under power. "They didn't even try to destroy us," her second-in-command whispered. "They just turned us off." Juwu felt cold dread in her stomach. This wasn't a battle. It was a swat, as casually as a human might swat a fly. Down on Earth, billions watched as alien broadcasts showed the failed attack. The collective speaker reel appeared on screens worldwide. "We regret the loss of human life in this pointless display," the alien said. "Your ships have been disabled, not destroyed. Survivors will be returned to Earth as a sign of our mercy. Let this demonstration serve as proof that resistance has no purpose." In a small, secret lab deep below the Korean mountains, a young engineer named Hyun Kang watched the broadcast with his team. Unlike most, he did not look defeated. He looked thoughtful. "They could have killed everyone," he said to his team. "But they didn't." "Why?" "They said it was mercy," one of his team members replied. Hyun shook his head. "No, it's something else." He pointed to a strange device on his workbench. "They use energy waves to disable our technology. If we can understand how that works." He turned to his computer and began typing rapidly. "They think the fight is over, but it's just beginning." Above them, the disabled human fleet drifted in space, a testament to alien power. But in hidden places across Earth, people like Hyun refused to accept defeat. The aliens had won the first battle, but they would soon learn an important lesson about humans. Losing a fight didn't mean losing the war. The aliens came down from the sky 1 month after their announcement. Their ships, shaped like giant silver leaves, hovered over major cities worldwide. Smaller craft dropped from them like seeds falling from trees. Sung-Mi Lee watched from her apartment window as 3 alien ships descended on Seoul. At 28, she had been a famous runner before the aliens came. Now her medals and trophies meant nothing. Their landing in City Hall Plaza, her neighbor called from the hallway. "It's on every channel." Sung-Mi turned on her television. The news showed alien peacekeepers stepping out of their ships. They were tall, with blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Some had 4 arms, others had strange ridges on their heads. All moved with a grace that seemed unnatural. "The collective brings peace and guidance," a human voice translated as one alien spoke. "Cooperation will bring rewards. Resistance will bring restrictions. Sami's phone buzzed with an alert. The aliens had already taken control of the communication networks. The message read, QRFEWBGANs 87 All citizens must remain indoors. Compliance ensures safety. She grabbed her jacket and running shoes. Where are you going? Her neighbor asked, eyes wide with fear. They said to stay inside. Not yet, Sami said. Curfew starts at sundown. I need to see what's happening. She ran through the streets of Seoul. Everywhere, people were rushing to get supplies before curfew. Some looked frightened. Others looked angry. Most just looked confused. Near City Hall, Sami slowed to a walk. Alien peacekeepers had set up checkpoints. They scanned everyone who passed with strange devices that hummed softly. Large screens had been placed around the plaza. They showed images of humans and aliens working together, building new structures, learning from each other. A voice spoke over the images. The collective brings advancement. The collective brings peace. The collective brings order. Sami felt sick. These were lies wrapped in pretty pictures. Don't stare too long, a quiet voice said beside her. Sami turned to see an old man selling newspapers from a small stand. They watch who watches, the old man said, his eyes down. He slipped her a newspaper. Page 3. Small ad for piano lessons. Sami took the paper and walked away casually. When she was far enough from the checkpoint, she opened it to page 3. There was indeed a small ad for piano lessons, but when she looked closely, she saw a tiny message printed in the border. Mi tiang tonight, old selubiolie. Entrance 12. Bring nothing electronic. She memorized the message and threw the paper away. As she walked home, she passed more screens showing alien propaganda. One showed human children sitting with alien teachers, looking happy and interested. Your young will learn truth, the voice said. The old ways of human thinking led to war and pain. The collective will teach better ways. Back in her apartment, Sami watched the sun begin to set. She thought of the newspaper message. Going out after curfew would be dangerous. But staying safe while her world was taken over seemed worse. As darkness fell, she changed into dark clothes and slipped out her back window. Other shapes moved in the shadows. People like her, disobeying the first rule of their new alien masters. Meanwhile, at a collective base outside the city, Taewon Kim was brought in with other captured military personnel. He had escaped the moon base, but was caught trying to reach a hidden military bunker. An alien with 4 eyes studied him. You fought when there was no chance of victory, it said in perfect Korean. This behavior fascinates us. Why do humans do this? Taewon smiled slightly. If you have to ask, you'll never understand. The alien made a note on its screen. Your species will learn logic in time. Taewon said nothing, but in his mind, he began planning his escape. The aliens thought they understood humans. That would be their biggest mistake. 6 months had passed since the aliens took control of Earth. On the surface, many cities looked peaceful. Humans went to work under alien supervision. They ate food approved by alien authorities. They watched screens that showed only what the aliens wanted them to see. But beneath this calm surface, something else was growing. Do-yeon Choi sat in a basement room lit by a single lamp. At 36, he had once been a top data analyst for a major tech company. Now he used those skills for something more important. Try it now, he said to the woman beside him. She pressed a button on an old radio. Static filled the room, then cleared to reveal a voice. Seoul base to Mountain Hub. Signal is clear. We can hear you. Do-yeon smiled. It works. They can't block us anymore. The aliens controlled all modern communication networks, but they had overlooked old technology. Radios, telegraph systems, and other methods they considered primitive. How many bases are connected now? Asked the woman. 17 across Asia, Do-yeon said. Europe has 22. Americas have 31. We're still working on Africa and Australia. They were building a human communication network right under the aliens' noses, a network the collective couldn't see or control. Across the world, in an abandoned mine deep in the mountains, Hyun Kang wiped sweat from his forehead. His team had turned the old mine into a workshop filled with salvaged and stolen alien technology. "Try it again," he told his assistant. The assistant pressed a button on a strange-looking device. It hummed softly, then produced a small energy pulse. Nearby, an alien scanner they had captured went dark. "It works," Hyun said. "If we can make more of these, we can blind their sensors." For months, they had studied how alien technology worked. The aliens used energy fields and waves the human science was only beginning to understand. But humans were quick learners. In Seoul, Sunmi Lee moved through dark streets after curfew. She carried a small backpack filled with medicine that the aliens had restricted. 6 months ago, she had been afraid. Now she moved with confidence, knowing the patterns of alien patrols. She reached a small clinic hidden in a basement. A doctor waited at the door. "Did you get it?" he asked. Sunmi handed him the backpack. "Enough for 20 patients." The doctor nodded gratefully. "The aliens say they provide all necessary medicine, but they don't understand human bodies as well as they think. Or human minds," Sunmi added. "Have you seen their new propaganda?" The aliens had begun showing images of humans who resisted being taken away for re-education. They wanted Earth to see resistance as hopeless and foolish. "It's not working," the doctor said. "For every person they show being captured, 10 more join us." Sunmi smiled. "I have new orders from Taiwan." Taiwan had escaped the alien facility a month after his capture. Now he helped coordinate resistance from a hidden location. "We're planning something big," she said. "Something the aliens won't expect." On the other side of the world, an alien commander reported to Speaker Rill about the growing human resistance. "Their attacks are small but increasing," the commander said. "They steal our technology. They disrupt our control systems. They continue to fight despite having no chance of victory." Speaker Rill's 4 eyes blinked in pairs. "This defies logic. Their resistance accomplishes nothing but delay the inevitable." "Should we increase restrictions?" the commander asked. "Yes," Rill decided, "and increase education programs. They must learn that resistance is illogical and self-harming." What the aliens failed to understand was that humans didn't always follow logic. Sometimes they followed something stronger, hope and determination. Even when all logic said to give up, humans kept fighting. And the aliens had no way to fight against that. High in the Himalayan mountains, a small base had been built inside a natural cave system. The alien sensors couldn't penetrate the thick rock, making it one of the safest places on Earth for humans to meet. Taewon Kim studied the maps spread across a table. His face was thinner now, with a scar running down his left cheek from his escape. Next to him stood Admiral Ju Park, who had survived when her ship was disabled in space. "The resistance is growing," Taewon said. "But we're still just annoying them, not defeating them." Ju nodded. "We need to find a real weakness, something that will actually hurt them." The door opened, and Do-yeon entered, carrying a tablet. "I think I found something," he said. "But it's not a weapon or a technical weakness. It's stranger." He placed the tablet on the table. It showed weeks of analyzed collective communications that resistance groups had intercepted. "Look at how they talk about us," Do-yeon said. "They keep using the same words: irrational, illogical, wasteful." Taewon frowned. "What does that tell us?" "They truly cannot understand why we keep fighting," Do-yeon explained. "In their communications with each other, they express confusion about human behavior. They expected us to give up after the first few defeats." Ju-woo leaned forward, interested. "Why would they expect that?" Do-yeon pulled up another file. "I studied the species in the collective. All 7 evolved in environments where conserving resources was the highest priority. When victory became unlikely, the logical choice was always to stop and save resources for a better opportunity. But humans didn't evolve that way, Taewon said slowly, understanding. No, Do-hyun agreed. We evolved as persistence hunters. Our ancestors would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion, even if it took days. We're hardwired to keep going when logic says to stop. Jiwoo's eyes widened. So when we keep fighting after defeats, it makes no sense to them, Do-hyun finished. They have no defense against an enemy that never quits because such an enemy shouldn't exist according to their understanding of the universe. For the first time in months, Taewon smiled. This is it. This is how we beat them. He called in the other resistance leaders, including Hyun, who had arrived from his workshop, and Sunmi, who represented the Soul Network. We've been fighting the wrong way, Taewon told them. We've been trying to find a technical weakness, but their biggest weakness is psychological. They cannot comprehend our persistence. How does that help us? Sunmi asked. We need to confuse them, Jiwoo said. We need to act in ways their models can't predict. Hyun nodded excitedly. I see it now. If they can't predict us, they can't counter us effectively. More than that, Do-hyun added, their entire society is built on predictability and efficiency. Chaos is their enemy more than we are. Taewon pointed to the map. So we don't focus on winning battles. We focus on being unpredictable, on doing what they think is impossible or illogical. Like attacking the same target over and over, even after being defeated there. Sunmi suggested. Exactly, Taewon said. Or defending positions with no strategic value, just to make them waste resources trying to understand why. For hours, they planned a new kind of resistance, not one based on human military doctrine, but one designed specifically to confuse and disturb the collective's orderly minds. As the meeting ended, Jiwoo looked at the tired but determined faces around her. The aliens think they know humans, she said. They've studied our history, our wars, our technology. But they missed the most important thing about us. What's that? Asked Hyun. Jiwoo smiled grimly. We're too stubborn to know when we're beaten, and that's going to be their downfall. Outside, snow fell on the mountains. In cities across Earth, alien patrols moved in perfect formation, believing they had the situation under control. They had no idea what was coming. 1 year had passed since the aliens first appeared in Earth's skies. In his workshop hidden deep in the mountains, Hyun Kang had barely slept for 3 days. His eyes were red, his hands shook slightly, but his face showed pure joy. It works, he whispered as the small device on his workbench hummed to life. It finally works. The device looked simple, just a metal box with a few buttons and a small antenna. But what it could do was anything but simple. Test it again, his assistant urged. Hyun pressed the main button. The captured alien communication device on the other side of the room went silent for 30 seconds. Then it came back online. 30 seconds of disruption, Hyun said. Enough time to make a difference. The aliens relied on constant neural network communication. Every collective soldier and ship was connected to a central command system at all times. Hyun's device could break that connection temporarily. Within days, resistance groups around the world had the plans for Hyun's disruptor. Small workshops began making them in secret. In Seoul, Sunmi Lee led a team of 20 resistance fighters. Each carried one of Hyun's devices. Remember the plan, she told them. We don't need to win. We just need to confuse them. The team split into 5 groups and moved to different parts of the city. At exactly midnight, they all activated their disruptors at once. The effect was immediate. Alien peacekeepers froze in place, suddenly cut off from their command network. Some simply stood still, waiting for reconnection. Others moved in random patterns, trying basic protocols they had been taught for such situations. Sunmi's team struck quickly, disabling alien equipment and freeing human prisoners from a holding facility. They left strange messages written in alien language on walls. Humans never quit, and logic fails when spirit rises. Similar attacks happened in 50 cities around the world at the same time. None were major victories on their own. But together, they created a pattern that deeply disturbed the aliens. In the collective's main Earth headquarters, Speaker Rill reviewed the reports with growing concern. They attacked targets of no strategic value, an advisor said. They freed prisoners who were scheduled for release. They disabled equipment but didn't steal it. None of these actions make tactical sense. Rill's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of stress. They are acting against all our behavioral models. That was exactly what the humans wanted. While the aliens tried to understand these seemingly random attacks, Do-Hyun had implemented the second part of the plan. Using the knowledge gained from studying alien communications, he had hacked into their propaganda network. Now, instead of showing human defeats, the screens in cities worldwide showed human victories. People saw resistance fighters disabling alien patrols. They saw the confused alien soldiers when their network went down. Most importantly, they saw that the mighty collective could be fought. This is an information error, the aliens announced. Do not believe these false images. But it was too late. Hope had spread faster than the aliens could contain it. In the Himalayan base, Taewon and Juwoo watched the reports come in from around the world. It's working better than we expected, Juwoo said. Their whole system is designed for efficiency and predictability. Our actions make no sense to them, so they can't respond effectively. Taewon nodded. For the first time, they're reacting to us instead of us reacting to them. On screens across the base, they could see alien ships moving to new positions, trying to strengthen their control. But their movements seemed less coordinated now, less certain. They're confused, Taewon said with satisfaction. And confused enemies make mistakes. The tide hadn't turned yet. The aliens still had superior technology and numbers, but something important had changed. For the first time since the invasion began, the humans had taken control of the narrative. The next phase of the resistance could now begin. Taewon sat in a small room filled with old computer equipment. For 3 days, he had worked on what might be their most powerful weapon yet. Not a bomb or a gun, but a story. Are we ready? He asked Do-Hyun, who sat at the main control panel. Do-Hyun nodded. We can broadcast to all collective communication channels, but we'll only have 15 minutes before they block us. 15 minutes is enough, Taewon said. He picked up a microphone. Begin transmission. Across Earth and in every alien ship in orbit, the collective's communication system was suddenly filled with Taewon's voice and human-made videos. Members of the collective, Taewon said calmly, your leaders have told you that humans are illogical and dangerous. Today we will tell you why we fight when you think we should surrender. The broadcast showed images from human history, ancient hunters tracking animals for days, explorers crossing oceans in tiny boats, climbers scaling impossible mountains. Humans evolved as persistence hunters, Taewon explained. We survived by never giving up, even when stronger predators threatened us. This is not a flaw in our thinking. It is the core of who we are. In alien bases around the world, lower-ranking collective members watched with growing interest. Many had never heard humans explain themselves this way. Your leaders say resistance is illogical when defeat is likely, Taewon continued. But humans have achieved our greatest victories by continuing to fight when logic said we should stop. The broadcast showed humans recovering from disasters, rebuilding cities, overcoming diseases that once seemed unbeatable. We do not fight because we think we will win easily, Taewon said. We fight because giving up is not in our nature. In Seoul, Sunmi led her biggest mission yet. While the aliens were distracted by the broadcast, her team entered a collective processing facility where captured humans were held. Move quickly and quietly, she told her team. We get our people and leave. The facility guards were confused. Some were watching the broadcast instead of their monitors. Sunmi's team moved through the building, freeing prisoners from cells and guiding them to waiting vehicles. One guard spotted them and raised an alarm, but his call went unanswered. The whole collective system was focused on Taewan's broadcast. Back in the broadcast room, Taewan delivered his final message. Lower members of the collective, ask yourselves, why do your leaders fear human persistence so much? Perhaps because they know that time is on our side, not theirs. We will never stop fighting for our freedom. Can your leaders say they will never stop fighting to keep us enslaved? In orbit, on a collective command ship, Speaker Rill watched the broadcast with growing alarm. Cut the transmission, Rill ordered, and find out how they accessed our system. But the damage was done. Across the communication network, lower-ranking collective species were sending messages to each other, asking questions that had never been asked before. Why do humans keep fighting? What if they never surrender? How long will this occupation last? For a species that valued efficiency above all else, these were dangerous questions. An endless war was the definition of inefficiency. In the Himalayan base, Taewan switched off the microphone as the aliens finally cut the transmission. Did it work? He asked Do-yeon. Do-yeon smiled as he checked the incoming data. Better than we hoped. Their communication network is filled with questions and doubt. Some lower-ranking ships are even requesting reassignment away from Earth. Ju-woo entered the room, her face showing rare excitement. Sunni's team just reported in. They freed over 300 prisoners from the Seoul facility. The aliens barely responded. For the first time, Taewan allowed himself to feel real hope. The aliens' greatest weapon had always been their unity and certainty. Now both were cracking. Their propaganda showed us as violent animals who needed to be controlled, Taewan said. Our counter-propaganda showed them what we really are, a species that never, ever quits. The aliens were about to learn just how dangerous that could be. 18 months after the invasion began, the collective leadership called an emergency meeting on their main command ship in orbit. Speaker Rill sat at the center of a circular table, surrounded by the leaders of all 7 species that made up the collective. The human resistance continues to grow stronger, Rill said. Our efforts to contain them have failed. This has never happened before, said the leader of the Terran, a species with gray skin and 6 fingers on each hand. We have pacified 83 planets. Why is this one different? Because the humans are different, Rill admitted. They do not follow predictable patterns. They attack when they should retreat. They refuse to accept defeat. On a large screen, they reviewed the most recent human activities. Resistance cells now operated in every major city. Alien patrols were attacked daily. Collective propaganda screens were regularly hacked to show resistance messages. We must consider more extreme measures, Rill finally said. The Council has authorized the use of planetary pacification weapons. The room fell silent. These weapons could render large areas of Earth uninhabitable. They had never been used before, only kept as a final option. Is this necessary? Asked the Volan leader, whose species was the newest to join the collective. The humans leave us no choice, Rill said. They will not stop, and their resistance threatens the stability of the entire collective. What the aliens didn't know was that Do-yeon had placed hidden devices on their ships months ago. These devices recorded and transmitted their private conversations to the human resistance. In the Himalayan base, Ju-woo listened to the aliens discuss destroying parts of Earth. They're getting desperate, she told the other resistance leaders. They're planning to use planet-killing weapons. How soon? Taewan asked. 3 days, Ju-woo replied. They're bringing the weapons from their home system. Hyun stood up from his chair. We're not ready for this. The weapon I've been developing needs at least a week more to finish. Hyun's team had been working on a modified version of the disruptor, powerful enough to disable the collective's command ships permanently. But it wasn't ready yet. We need to buy time, Taewan said. He studied the maps on the wall, then pointed to the main collective headquarters in what had once been Geneva. We need to hit them here, with everything we have. That's suicide, Sunni said. They have their strongest defenses there. Exactly, Taewan said. They'll never expect us to attack their most fortified position. It will confuse them completely. Jiwoo understood immediately. A diversion. We make them think we're launching an all-out assault on their headquarters, while our real goal is to delay their weapons and give Hyun time to finish his device. Taewon finished. The plan came together quickly. Resistance cells worldwide would coordinate the largest attack they had attempted yet. They would use all their disruptors, all their captured alien weapons, everything they had, not to win, but to confuse. 3 days later, as the collective prepared to receive their planet-killing weapons, human resistance fighters launched attacks on alien bases around the world. The largest force, led by Taewon himself, marched directly toward the Geneva headquarters. In orbit, Speaker Ril watched with disbelief. "They're attacking our strongest position with their main force," Ril said. "This defies all tactical logic. Should we redirect forces from orbit to defend?" asked a commander. Ril thought quickly. The humans had never done anything so obviously foolish before. There had to be a reason. No, Ril decided. This must be a diversion. Maintain orbital forces at full strength. But doubt had crept into Ril's mind. What if it wasn't a diversion? What if humans truly were so determined that they would sacrifice their main force in a hopeless attack? This uncertainty, this inability to predict human behavior, was exactly what Taewon had counted on. As the battle raged below, Jiwoo prepared for the real mission. While the aliens were distracted, she would lead a small team to intercept and disable the incoming weapon ships. The fate of Earth now depended on whether the aliens' confusion would last long enough.